Welcome to the quarterfinals, day 2 of the Opera Euro Rapid. Just to remind you, these are the results from day 1 of the quarterfinals. Carlsen beat Dubov 2.5 half, that means Dubov has to win today in order to force a tiebreak. Wesley So beat Jan Duda 2.5 1.5, so Duda has to win today. MVL beat Aronian, so Aronian has to win today, and Rajbov Giri, that was 2-2. At the end of the video, I will be showing who made it to the semi-finals of the Opera Euro Rapid. In this video, I will be looking at the games between Carlsen and Dubov. This was the most exciting quarterfinal. Let's begin. So far, what's happened? Draw in game 1 today, then a win from Dubov. Now we're going to check out another game. d4, knight f6. b6, we have the Queen's Indian. Bishop g2, so when you place your bishops like this, the bishops are competing against each other on this diagonal. Bishop b4 check. Carlsen has thrown in this check move against Dubov in many games they've played. Block, c5. Now we get this total imbalance. Take, take, castle. I like all of White's moves. 2 pawns in the center, knight, bishop, and he's already safe. Castle, knight d2. Preparing e4. Not at the moment because Black has 2 on it. a5. So every pawn is defending each other on the left. I really like the way Dubov treated this position because it's like he just ignored all these pawns on the left and played in the center. Rook e1, preparing to get space with e4. d6 and now e4. One option for Black was to play knight e4 to stop him. And then we have this cool option which Dubov might have gone for. h4 was played before, like his game against Daniil. The point is you can play knight g5 next. If you stop it, then maybe knight e5. And the game goes on. Rook e1, d6 chosen. Another option was d5 actually to stop this, just to control that square. And after take, take, knight e5, game goes on. It's like White's putting some pressure on this pawn. Carlsen chose d6, e4. White has a very impressive looking center, but Black plans to attack it. With this move, knight d7, the idea is to play e5. And if this pawn isn't here, then the knight can come to that square. So for example, this rook c1, e5. If you push, knight c5. It looks like Black is just putting his pieces on good squares. Black has good control. Queen e2 played. The point of this is to defend this. Then the rooks can come in the middle. e5. We don't push because you actually allow the knight in. So rook d1, just keeping the position flexible. White has a healthy position, lots of space. Knight c6, knight f1. Throughout this game, you will see White just ignore these pawns. White is the one he's going to play in the center. Queen f6, knight e3. Options of hopping into d5 to f5. Now the point of queen f6 is now Black is putting pressure on his pawn. But Dubov, he ignores it for the moment. Gets the knight here. Knight d4, take, take, and this is the idea. e5, opening up the diagonal. The bishops really are competing against each other. After take, bishop takes b7. It looks like Carlsen has chucked a piece. No, because after rook a7, both pieces are hanging. This bishop hangs, this knight hangs. What to do? Queen out the way. Queen now attacks this. So it's like every minor piece is being attacked. Both knights are being attacked, and the bishop as well. Knight f6 attacks the queen, but the queen is here, so he can actually take the pawn. Queen takes d4, rook takes bishop, and not trading now, but winning a pawn on d6. Queen takes pawn, Black takes on b2. Rook d2 attacking the queen. The queen can go to 2 squares, a3 or to c3, but the idea is going to be very similar. Queen c3 was played. Now's your chance to pause the video or let the timer run. Can you find a brilliant move here? And the idea is that it leads to checkmate in 3 moves. 5 seconds. The brilliant move is knight d1. So then, both rooks and the queen are working on the files. The retreating knight move means it attacks the queen has to move. So if it goes to a1, then we have checkmate in 3. A brilliant way to finish off the game, and it's all due to the back rank. Queen takes rook, and after king takes, rook d8 check. Winning. Take, take, check, And when you block with a knight, doesn't matter, either rook can take, and that will be mate. This is what Carlsen missed, a brilliant knight retreating move. After knight d1, you can't actually move the queen, so rook e8 was played. Dubov just trades rooks, takes, and then knight takes queen. In this position, black resigned. You have to get your queen back if you choose to continue, but this is completely losing because after this, there's no time for black to take this knight. Because if you take, then it's checkmate. Back rank mate. But if you deal with this, let's say you push a pawn, then white can actually just save his knight and he's going to be a knight up. So he resigned. g6, knight d5, game over. Now we go to the most exciting phase of the match, the Armageddon game. What does this mean? 5 minutes for white, 4 minutes for black, but white has to win in order to go to the semi-finals. Black only needs at least a draw. Carlsen chooses white. e4, c5, we have the Sicilian. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, the Rossolimo Sicilian. g6, castle, bishop g7. Carlsen now goes for an early capture, take. Black has a lot of central control. Is this a strength or a weakness? Well, it really depends if that bishop can get out. Rook e1 and e5, just clamping down on black's position. Knight f5, d3, controlling the center. Castle, knight d2, where's the knight going? Maybe to c4 to e4. d6, breaking up the structure. b3. The knight is here, so white needs to find a way to get this bishop out. Knight d4, offering an exchange. And I think white should take it, or else this bishop is going to be very unpleasant putting a pin in this direction. That's why Carlsen goes for a trade. Take. And queen f3, attacking that pawn. Do you defend it? No. Dubov actually competes for the e-file, rook e8. You don't have time to take this, or else you drop your rook. Always look out for these in-between moves in your game. The boring move is just to defend a pawn or a piece that's being attacked, but Dubov plays a more exciting move, which is to attack something of greater value. He attacks your rook. Carlsen offers a trade, take, and with this move, now the queen is on this square, it defends the pawn and is threatening to come in. Bishop comes out, so the queen can't come down anymore due to the rook. Bishop attacks pawn. Queen attacks the other pawn. I think black is in some trouble. Bishop e6, so Dubov even gives up this pawn, because after take, then this is an absolutely superb bishop. It is worth being down a pawn if you can get a piece that good. If you move the queen here, then queen g2, this is looking so unpleasant. This queen is so active. This bishop is well placed. That's why after bishop a3, even though Carlsen attacks the pawn and Dubov ignores it, Carlsen ignores it as well, because he's just putting pressure on another pawn. Knight e4. Black just played d5, encouraging white to come in with the knight. The knight can go d6, but even better, the knight can go f6, forcing a trade. Knight f6 check forces an exchange. Take, and look at all this control on the dark squares. If you can get your bishop here, lined up with the queen is going to be mate. Queen d8, that's why Dubov, he has to offer a trade. Remember, black is fine with a draw. That's why Carlsen, he needs to take this pawn, keep the queens on, giving him checkmating chances. f6, great move, blocking the diagonal. Rook e1, attack the bishop, but king f7 defends the bishop and defends that pawn. Bishop b2, putting pressure on that pawn, but black is doing fine because he's got queen and king defending it. a6, really weird looking move just to push this pawn. It looks like it does nothing, but the point is now he can move the rook because this queen, it was attacking that pawn. Queen h4, attacking, h5, defending. Queen f4, putting pressure here and here, even though it's fine because black still has 2 on it. But the point of this move is the queen might sneak into the position. g5, stopping that. Queen f3, attack that pawn. Bishop g4, attack the queen. The queen now comes to the e-file. Queen and rook line up, controlling all these squares, but it doesn't actually have an entry point. Queen d6. Queen defends everything. h3, kicking the bishop away, so the bishop just retreats, but now, when it comes back to this square, this rook can actually join in. Queen f3, g4. Queen attacks pawn, so instead of defending it with king g6, which was possible, I think king g6 looks alright, g4 was played by Dubov. Take, now a queen trade is offered. Huge decision from white, because he needs to win. And the queens did come off, and in these kind of positions, opposite bishop endgames are known for being drawn. But all the pawns are pretty scattered, so let's see how this played out. Rook e8. Time to trade rooks? Well, that would suit black because it will increase his drawing chances, so Carlsen says no. c5 played to control another central square. By the way, you don't want to come in, even though it looks like a very, very active move, because you actually just get chased. King f1. If the rook goes there, bishop c3, and the rook is trapped all of a sudden. That's why you can't come in early. c5, king f2. Now you can't come in at all. c4, attacking the pawns. Notice these two pawns are on light squares, so playing this move is like you're going to get assistance from this bishop, which is a light squared bishop. Rook d1, defending. Bishop f5, putting pressure on that diagonal. Rook d2, rook c8. If it's black's move now, you're going to play c3, attacking both bishop and rook. So bishop is placed in the middle. Take, take, the rook can come in. Rook to c1. The rook is so active. Maybe black has a good position here. b4, got to push your pawns because really you've got 2 against 1. Rook b1, bishop c3, defending. Now Dubov plays a cool move, trading pawn for pawn. d4, forcing the bishop to take it and then take this one. King comes to the middle, rook a4, attacking both. Bishop c5. Rook defends this. White wants to go a3, so then he's just got all his pawns sorted. King e6, a3, king d5, bishop b4. The rook is trapped. Locking out the rook. White has 1 minute 13, black has 54 seconds. Remember, white needs to win this and black needs at least to draw. a5, attacking the bishop. So the bishop goes there. All these squares you can see in circles. The rook is trapped. It can't go to any of them. Well, it can go here, but then bishop f6. King, that's why the king retreated. Bishop f8, king back to d5, rook c2. Controlling an open file, maybe coming here. By the way, this is a funny move. If you play this, then that is checkmate all of a sudden. King can't actually go there due to the rook. Due to the bishop. So rook c2, king back, rook check, and then bishop back to c5. Bishop e6, rook d6, bishop f5, rook a6, attacking that pawn. Bishop e6. One way was white could maybe move the king there, improve the king position. But he chose d4, he actually allowed the rook out. Rook c4, king up, rook c2, pawn for pawn. Black goes for this pawn, but white actually goes for that pawn, which is more important because then this pawn is going to be 1 against 0. Rook takes, check first, and then take. Bishop d6, a perfect bishop, defending both key pawns. The plan is that pawn is not going to move, but this pawn is going to be a runner. Push, push, bishop moves, rook a7. 51 seconds versus 13 seconds. It's looking terrible for black. King defends bishop, push. King up. You got 2 directions. Maybe you go to the right or to the left just to make progress. Assist the pawn. Assist the rook. Maybe get some checkmating ideas. Rook e1, cutting the king off. So now the king can't actually go this way. It's like black is saying, well, you got to go that way to make progress. Push first. Check. King up. King can come in here or here. Rook can go here to check. Push. But take. That's the problem, you see. Even though it's 2 against 1, there's no way for black to make progress because after push, you take with the bishop, and now it's 1 against 1, and this is solid. You can't break through. The king now has an extra square to come in. Rook a4, check. King there, a6, push. And in this position, black resigned. It is 2 against nothing. One of these pawns is going to become a queen. So if we played on a little bit, check. The king assists the pawn on the left, giving up this pawn. Then push, and then the rook can just swing over. And there's no way you can stop this. You can actually play rook a5, but then you get a queen, and after this, you are a rook down. Here are the standings for the other quarterfinal matches. MVL versus Levon Aronian. This was 2-2. But on day 1, MVL won, so that means he is through to the semi-finals. So the first semi-final matchup is Carlsen against MVL. Wesley So beat Jan Duda 2-0 today. He won the first match, so he is through. Timur Radjabov against Anish Giri. It was 2-2 again today, but then in the rapid portion, Radjabov won. So the other semi-final is Wesley So against Timur Radjabov. Thanks a lot for watching all the way until the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like and subscribe to the channel at the same time? If you press the bell, that means YouTube will let you know when I release a new video. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.